Hey guys, welcome back to Anime Club, the show where we watch the first few episodes of an anime series and give you our first impressions. I'm Reina Scully.
And I'm William Hanks.
And this week we watched Sword Art Online Season or Series 2.
Why do they say series? Why can't they say season?
Because it's not really Season 2. It kind of follows a completely different story.
It is completely different.
But there is a persistent, like obviously Kirito is in this as well as Asuna, so I guess...
Not as much.
Not as much, yay!
It's not all about him anymore.
No, and I really don't like Asuna, so yay!
Oh!
Sword Art Online 2 is obviously a continuation of Sword Art Online, except it takes place in Gun Gale.
Oh, Gun Gale is another
Gun
game.
Gale Online.
It's another game.
Yes, it's another virtual reality MMO game.
I wouldn't play with that one, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd stick over at Sword Art Online where they're fighting like, ooh, this is a big plant. Let's kill this plant.
You'd rather fantasy, because they make that distinction that this is more like, they translated it as steampunk, but it's not, it's just, you know, a gun world as opposed to a fantasy world that...
Fantasy world, you know, Maple Story, World of Warcraft, and Gun Gale is like, kind of like real life. People being really scared, hiding out, being in the desert, shooting each other. I call that the War on Terror. Am I allowed to say that? Right
off the bat, I actually very much love Series 2. So much more than original Sword Art Online.
Do you like it when things are violent?
It's not, I mean, Sword Art Online's pretty violent. It gets pretty
Do you like
violent,
when things are bloody?
I do like that, because
like
I'm messed up on the inside.
You like to know people's past about their families and when blood's involved?
Well, actually, that is a very nice segue, thank you, because the main character, Shinon, well, Shinon's her name in the game, but she has a very complicated, very messed up, very intricate and interesting past, and I love it because it definitely creates depth in her character, and she is awesome!
Why do all the people in this video game get the names that they want? Why does she get to be Sinon? Why is she, and if it was real, she'd be like Sinon 1993 or like Sinon
because
06.
it already exists.
Yeah, she'd be like, ah, dang it. Behemoth?
Maybe they're super
what's
creative.
What's the cool, how would this guy get the name Behemoth? Everybody wants Behemoth, but we'll continue on. In Death Gun?
Death Gun.
He'd be Death Gun 1, 2, 3. Let's be honest.
No, he's the original. He's the first. Is that the
first
ideal?
guy.
Yeah, he's the first guy that decided to put the name Death Gun in.
And he was like, oh, that's taken. He was like, I had Gun Death and I had Death Gun Boy, but he just went with that. Cool, he got lucky.
Sword Art Online 2 follows the story of this girl who is a super high-level player in Gun Gale Online.
They said she's the best sniper in the whole game,
right.
which is quite an accomplishment.
Among the best, right. And it was really weird and interesting that you brought this up. While we were watching it, you specifically asked, like, why are they so serious in this game?
Oh, yeah.
And there's actually a real reason for it. Unlike Sword Art Online and ALO, there is a money currency exchange system where money that you gain in Gun Gale Online can be converted into real money, which is why they take the video game very seriously.
Would you do this in real life?
I would
you play
love
Smash Bros for money?
Yes.
Okay, alright.
Yes. Sword Art Online 2 starts with Kirito and Asuna being in the real world, acting like normal people because it's a year after all that chaos is over.
Can I just say that all they do is date? All they do is go around and go on dates. Ooh, now we're at the coffee shop.
Ooh, we love each other so much.
Ooh.
We're meant for each other.
Ooh, now we're sitting on top of a mushroom. I love you.
OTP canon. I know, it's annoying.
Who's got that much time?
Asuna. She's too perfect.
But anyway,
I hate her. I hate Asuna.
Go ahead. It's
She's so annoying. And then, of course, Kirito now has to investigate a murder that supposedly occurs in the virtual world and also occurs in real life.
You would think they would get real FBI agents for this.
But no, they're like, we're gonna get this kid.
This teenager
who's super good at video games. So that's gonna make a lot of sense. Let's do this. Oh, that's very Japan in anime, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's after all the whole nerve gear transmitter stuff happens. They've created, the new nerve gear, Amusphere or something like that. Amusphere. I don't know how to say it in English, sorry, or else whatever. And it's supposed to, shut down the moment it thinks that your autonomic nervous system isn't normal. So it obviously has like a safeguard to it. However, somehow or another, Death Gun has somehow killed somebody in the virtual world and thus in the real world.
So, but not even he saw a guy on a TV screen in the virtual world, shot his gun at the TV screen, breaking that. and then the guy who was also in the virtual world, not in that room, was dead.
Yeah.
So that's pretty far in. That's a couple levels down, I'd say.
It is. Down, yeah.
Or a couple levels in, what would you say?
Up, in, down, all those things.
It's just a virtual time and space realm. Now, the Higgs Bison.
You didn't quite get up to Kirito actually going into Gun Gale Online.
Yeah, but he's talking about it.
Yes. He's basically telling Asuna, like, oh, I'm going to go play another game, and I'm going to convert, so all my items are going to disappear, but don't worry, I'll come back and reconvert. And she's all like, oh, I don't know if you should go. Oh, but I guess you should because you were asked by this. I hate her so much. The reason why I like Sword Art Online 2 is because the characters are far more powerful, and the female character is an Asuna. The female character, Sinon, is very, like I said before, intricate and deep.
She has some issues.
Yeah, what we were talking about earlier is you learn a little bit about her past in episode 3. It's called Memories of Blood, I think. And she gets bullied by her classmates, and you're like, what's really wrong with her? They
asked her for $100, and they're all surprised that a teenage girl doesn't have $100.
Yeah, and she's like, then go withdraw it, bitch. But then she's like, no, I won't do that, and then she, like,
Which
the bully,
is very great.
Yeah, good, smart girl.
I'm not gonna lie, if I was her age and some bully was like, give me some dang money, I would have been like, okay, I'll just go get it to you. But she was like, yeah.
I'd push her up against a fence and punch her in the back of the head.
Yeah, we're not all like that.
She's clearly traumatized because the bully girl was all like...
it just made sense to me what she was doing to her.
Yes, she was pointing the gun at her because she's traumatized. They know what her past is about.
There's some effed up kids in anime and real life, as we've seen. If you know that someone has a phobia, don't put the phobia in their face or you're a douchebag. Rule number 3 of Williamism.
So you know there's something wrong with her and guns and whatnot, which is strange because she's such a pro at Gun Gale Online.
Yeah, she believes that. She's confused as to why, for some reason, inside of the game, she's not affected by having guns pointed at her as she is in real life, and it might be because it's a video game.
Well, they explained that it was supposed to be a type of immersion therapy, but that's when she realized she's not affected by guns whatsoever in Gun Gale Online, and that's why she's such
quite the opposite. She's very good at them.
Yes, very good. She is among the top 3, which is why she's one of the targets of Death Gun. Like I said earlier, you didn't get to see this part. You didn't get to see Kirito actually enter Gun Gale Online, but I love it because his avatar is really feminine and everyone thinks he's a girl because he has like long hair and like beautiful kira eyes.
Don't you get to make your own character?
You do. I think what happened is his information got converted because he needs the stats to be in Gun Gale Online or something like that. So when they converted the stats, maybe he didn't get to choose. But that's not the case though, because it's not that he's a male. He just looks like a female. His hair is just really long, and like I said, he has beautiful eyes. Kira kira. I don't know why. They didn't explain that yet. I got up to like episode 10 or something, and they didn't explain that. So I really liked that concept because it ended up being a little bit of a social commentary. Because most of the players in Gun Gale Online are males. Sinon's like a definite super special case, which is probably why she's targeted so often. But everybody takes note of Kirito because they think he's a girl, and you know how much I love androgyny just in general. I love it. And it's also cool because he, in order to like not be judged or not to be noticed as Kirito, he kind of plays the part of a girl. So he's like, he takes a moment where he's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. It's really gonna happen. Well, and he pretends to be a girl for like a whole episode.
Does it sound like him?
Yeah, it sounds like him, so it's really dumb. Like, if you've seen Sword Art Online, it's really dumb.
Goodness.
I really like it, and Sinon kind of takes him under her wing, and it's really funny because she thinks he's a girl, but then in the end, she finds out, and it's just kind of like, oh, how dare you betray me?
My trust.
Yeah, my trust. You told me you were a girl, but you're actually a boy. It's pretty weird, actually. Very Japan.
I'd say my favorite part of the show so far is obviously the part where Sinon is fighting Behemoth.
Oh!
And she jumps out of a 40-story
clock
building.
Tower, yeah.
And she just does some tumbles. He's supposed to be a really good shooter because he's got this big minigun.
They call it minigun, but it's the size of his body.
Yeah, and he can't shoot her even though she's falling out. If she just fell out a window or jumped out.
And he's supposed to be super dangerous.
And then her leg gets cut off, and she's like, I'm gonna do some twists.
She tumbles forward. I love that.
And she shoots him and wins.
She shoots him in the forehead.
Because Sinone's got skills.
She does.
She couldn't do it in real life, though. But that's okay.
Well, who could do it in real life? Her leg got chopped off, really.
James Bond
My favorite part so far is something you haven't seen yet. It's when Kirito tests out his skill level, and he also needs to gain money in order to buy better guns for the game and a tournament. So they don't make him do it, but she suggests that he does this like speed run thing. And it's just really cool. It's in episode 4. It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
You'll see it. Yeah, you'll see it soon.
Should they see it too?
You should see it too.
You better watch it.
If you haven't seen it yet, you'll enjoy it.
So I'd say it's a good show. It's got a good foundation, and I enjoy watching it. It's definitely not a chore.
Yeah.
I'd say it is
From what you've seen, do you think it's better than the first season?
Well, I did kind of like.
You like Fantasy World though, so I do get that.
Yeah. But this was a little bit more serious, and the direction, like the type of like visuals that were in this was really interesting. So I'd say it's pretty good. Yeah,
I like Series 2 so much more than the first one. Because you all know I do not like Asuna, so but I like Kirito's character in this one, even possibly more so than I liked him in the first one. But I really, really love Sinon. I love her character. I love that we have a really strong female character that's not perfect. Feels good. And I really like where the story is going. I do like that it's a little bit more adult in that way. I generally tend to like more fantasy like animes as well, but I gotta go with this one. This is far more fantastic. Maybe it's because it has a stronger sci-fi element rather than fantasy, like sci-fi versus fantasy. I'm not sure, but I really, really enjoy it, so I suggest you all watch it too. So that's all we have for you this week on Sword Art Online 2. Next week, because it's going to be October, which means Halloween, I want to start watching some horror anime.
I don't really like things that are scary, but recently I felt less scared about them, so I'm fine with it.
You're growing older. So to kick off October and our Halloweeny fest, we are going to watch Hellgirl, Two Mirrors.
Two Mirrors.
Yes.
Ooh, if you put them together, what happens?
Ooh,
darkness.
Foreverness. Oh, okay. If you want to watch Hellgirl, Two Mirrors along with us, head on over to crunchyroll.com/sfnerd to get your free premium membership trial. Take a video of yourself giving us your opinions of it and upload it onto YouTube with the hashtag SFNGirl. Does that work?
SFN Girl, yeah.
SFN Girl, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Come back again next week, like our friends.
Where they at?
They're right here.
I have very high hopes for this season because the first one had a very satisfying ending, even though it was a little bit weird at times and was a bit uncomfortable to watch at times, but it had a very satisfying ending, and I'm hoping this one has too. I'm really looking forward to the endless possibilities of this new world because it's something that this anime hasn't done before, and it's very interesting having Kirito being the underdog for once and not being the pro or not being the master of that specific video games.
It's got guns, and I don't know, for me, an anime that's called Sword Art Online, even if it goes into other games, it should have a prevalence of swords. Kirito, he's not really comfortable with the guns because in his mind and sort of as his identity in video games because of how long he spent in SAO, he's a swordsman, that's what he is. Granted, he doesn't have like a sword, but he has a lightsaber, and that's pretty sweet. I definitely, when I saw the first episode that had him finding that lightsaber, I literally like messaged all my friends. I'm like, dude, Kirito has a lightsaber, best anime ever.
I think they should have just gotten rid of the characters from the first season, including Kirito and Asuna, except maybe Klein, because Klein was great. But maybe have those characters appear as like a cameo, but in this new world, like the sniper girl, her backstory is just way more interesting than everyone else. So I think they should have just kept her as the main character.
Why? Start from the basics. I'm not as enamored of this as I was of season 1. It doesn't, it doesn't grab you right off the bat like season 1 does. The animation is still amazing, the designs are still amazing. I just feel kind of let down. Because, a big part of the reason that I got into anime in the first place is because, in Japan, animation is respected as a storytelling medium. So that's a part of the reason I got into anime, because since it's considered a legitimate, mature storytelling medium, then they actually tell complete stories. When once they've completed the story, they just stop. Like a lot of shows, they only go one season because that's all they need. They go until they're done, and then the story is complete, and then they leave it alone. And I appreciate that. It's not like over here where you have to keep going and keep making more and keep hoping for sequels in the case of movies, and just constantly leave things open-ended to make sure that you can always add more on to the end of it.
Why don't you like Asuna? She's a good girl.
Fucking hate.
Why do you have this gun here?
Because I like guns!
That's a real gun.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I hold out my gun!
Was that R. Kelly?